All right. Good evening, everyone. It's Dr. Shiva. We're actually streaming our town hall live tonight. We have a number of people joining us from throughout the United States. And the topic that I want to talk about today is on education. Many of you know that every week I take a particular topic and I go through it, but it's in the context of the 6 topics we cover every week. And today's topic is on education. And I think it's very, very important to discuss this because it really affects the future of a country's development, where the country's trajectory is, in particular, what's happening to the youth. So we want to talk about the need for systems education. So I have some slides put together that I'm going to walk everyone through that'll help you give you guys an idea of where I'm coming from. The first set of slides is typically the set of slides we do at every one of these events, which really reviews for people on some fundamental aspects of where our movement and what we do is coming from. So let me go to that. So let me share this slide deck with you. And this is going to be shared to everyone. And it should come out okay. All right. So Crystal, just make sure you can see it. Everyone can see it? Okay. Yes? Crystal? Okay, good. So when we launched our campaign's focused on this very, very important graph. We're the only ones talking about it. After we started talking about it, others mysteriously who never spoken about it started talking about it. But the important thing is that this graph, if you went over to 1960, a lot of the policies, 60s and 70s that were laid out led to this upside down graph. What is this graph? Life expectancy on the y-axis and years on the x-axis. So what you see is life expectancies going upside down. Initially, people may think it's COVID, but it actually isn't. This has been going down for a long time, but you have to look at what's called the curvature of this graph. And the overall life expectancy, so the US life expectancy is much less than globally, but you can also see this is also curving down. So what we identified from a systems approach, because our movement, our campaign is really an educational movement to raise people's consciousness, to show them that if you look at this entire graph, it's not like the vaccines cause this. It's not like this pollution causes. It's not just geoengineering. It's not just any one thing. It's an accumulation. Just like when you get sick, your body gets sick not because of any one event, but it gets sick over a period of time of an accumulation of things, right? You do enough things wrong over time. You don't eat the right foods. You don't exercise. Massive stress in your life. Eventually, you're going to destroy your body, all right? Well, collectively, the United States body of people is being destroyed. So I just want everyone to look at that. So what does it mean to be able to go bomb any country you want? What does it mean to be able to have a dollar that's a reserve currency? What does it mean to be able to have the ability to watch any movie you want on Netflix or whatever you want, but knowing that your child's life expectancy is going to be shorter than yours? And then realizing that this is not caused by something just at any one point, but it's been caused by a system of issues that goes back to every president in the United States, every celebrity, every academic who's had power and influence, and it's been taking on for a long time. So we keep repeating this because we really want you to look at this, because there's really no way out of this except recognizing that we need a systems overhaul. So Booby Kennedy, Trump, Bernie Sanders, Joe Biden, Hillary Clinton, Obama, George Bush, Bush 1, Bush 2, right? You can go down the list. All of them have participated in this, all of them. So you have to, as a person, wherever you are in the world, as an American in particular, ask, what the hell's going on? And what's going on is voting for the lesser of two evils. Voting for the lesser of two evils is what's gotten us here. So that's what we really need to understand, because you'll see people say, well, I like everything Dr. Shiva says, but we have an urgent issue now. We have to choose one of the people who can win. We got to choose someone, who can win. And Booby Kennedy has been set up as a fake anti-establishment candidate. So some people get further confused by him. But the reality is he's been part of the swarm his whole life. His family's an organized crime family, and they've been part of this. But this graph, you have to really, really, internalize that over the many, 40, 50 years, the elites, the swarm has been destroying your health collectively. So what's the cause of this? Well, today I want to talk about a systems approach. Well, what you realize is not any one thing. There's incredible amount of stress on an individual. Several town halls, we gave a really, really deep analysis of stress and resilience. You can go look at it. But what we want to talk about is that it's not any one thing. So every week we take a topic. Last week was healthcare. Before that is economy. And before that, governance and innovation, education. We take each one of these and we give an actual solution. So you're going to really walk away with a solution. So the education, the fake science and the fake news people get, stupid individuals leading our country. And I want to comment on this. If you really look at the quality of any of these people running for office or who want to be in power, you have to ask yourself, are they educated? It doesn't mean they have to go to university. They could be self-educated. They, through the life of hard knocks, but do they have a skill? Do they actually know how to do anything? And I don't believe being a con man or a bullshitter or lying is doing something. I'm talking about tangible skills. Does Joe Biden have any skills? Well, you'll see all those videos on the internet, him talking about, well, I graduated top of my class, where apparently graduated deep, the bottom of his class. All right. So his life in getting to where he is was really about conning people. That's the education that he has, how to manipulate people. You go to Donald Trump. Well, I don't really know what kind of education he has. I don't, he was given a couple $100 million fortune by his father. And then people say, oh my God, he grew it. Well, actually he didn't. He destroyed his father's fortune when you really look at it from the perspective of, if you were given a couple $100 million and you didn't do anything with it, it would just grow automatically, particularly in real estate. Anyone of you who's bought a piece of land or a piece of home, as long as you do basic maintenance, right? What happens over every year? The statistics show over a long period, a real estate grows at around 8% per year, right? So you could be a total idiot and have a bunch of property your parents gave you. And if you had a couple $100 million, it'll probably become a couple billion without you doing anything, okay? But if you look at his life, he actually went bankrupt many times. And this is not a hit from the left. This is just who he is. But he did learn how to con people well. And this is why when he went bankrupt for the I think third or fourth time in the late 90s, the people who bailed him out were a guy called Wilbur Ross. Wilbur Ross is the one who was the head of an organization called Rothschild Inc. of the Rothschilds, and he was the head of debt financing for them. So Trump had made an investment of $700 million, and he had taken a loan at a 14% interest rate. Okay. And basically he was out of business. And the Rothschilds, the story goes, realized that he was very good at conning people and manipulating people. So there was use for him. They could have completely liquidated him, which is what typically a bank would do when you're under such dire straits, right? They want to come in and take everything. Instead, they let him retain 50%, which is quite extraordinary. And thereafter, a trajectory was set for him as you connect the dots for him to become president. He gets a lot of financing. He gets a lot of notoriety and popularity from writing books. And by the way, you can't just write a book and get it on the New York Times bestseller list. Go figure out how to do that. If you ever had a publishing deal, you better have an agent. You better be able to get your books in every store. And his agent was Ari Emanuel. Okay, you can look him up. The brother Rahm Emanuel, and Ari Emanuel literally runs the swarm in Hollywood. Okay, and then he got The Apprentice show. So he was put on a trajectory to be president. Very, very uneducated man on many, many levels, but a good con man. Go look at Booby Kennedy's history. Gets thrown out of every high school he goes. is a complete idiot, spits in police's face. You can go, it's all online. You can study public information. However, he gets into Harvard. How does he get into Harvard? Harvard has a policy called legacy admissions. Anyone know what that means? So legacy admissions means Harvard's legacy admissions is close to 40 to 45%, which means you could be a complete dumb fuck, but if you are part of the club or your parents gave you money, you get allowed in. And Booby Kennedy boastfully didn't even fill out his application, just wrote Kennedy on it. That's it. Didn't have to write any essays because he knew he was going to get in. You see, it's wired for these people, okay? It's pure, as Venkatesh says, pure adulterated nepotism. His entire life has been one of plagiarizing and cheating everywhere he went. When he became a heroin addict, he got a community service pass to run an organization called Waterkeepers, which a very hardworking woman had built. Stole it from her and then gets branded as a guy who's fighting for the environment. All right? I've seen it. He steals my stuff, plagiarizes it. And then when he was in Harvard, completely a flunky, just wasted, whatever, you know, he doesn't have to do anything. His roommate was a guy called Peter Allen. Peter Allen was a Zionist hoodlum himself, but a dweeb. He couldn't, he had no social graces, anything. But Booby used him to write all of his papers and his essays. And, you know, one of the big prestigious things at Harvard is your senior thesis. Well, mysteriously, Booby Kennedy gets an A++. Well, he didn't write it. Peter Allen did. And you can look this up. So we have people who know nothing about education, never have had to solve problems, do not know science, technology, engineering, or mathematics, and they're allowed to get into power. We're seeing right now in the state of Idaho, our people work their butts off to get thousands of signatures in the rain and sleet. You know what Booby Kennedy has done? We just found out. He went and negotiated with the Secretary of State. He has not gotten one signature. The deadline is tomorrow. No signatures. He did a negotiation with them to extend the deadline. And we came to find out of this through someone walking by who signed our signature. Everything he does is cheating. These people are cheaters. Cheaters, and that's what they're trained to do. Fucking cheat. So please understand that. Now contrast that with me. And I have to speak about me because I can speak about it personally. And contrast that with many of you. If you went to school, you know, I valued my education, you know. I not only would I do the homework, I would do all the extra credit. All right. Especially when I came first to the United States, because my mother said, you will have to get an A++ just to get an A. The other students will probably get a B and they would get an A. So I'd have to work harder. And that's what I had to do. So everything I have, I earned. I had amazing teachers in the in the middle of the late 70s. There were still incredible teachers who still cared about education. This is before the Department of Education destroyed education. You know, you can give me engineering problems. I can still solve them. I can develop principles from, you know, I can solve things from first principles. I know how to think. And engineering education taught me how to do systems thinking. So today, if you go look, one of the very, very powerful indicators of which country is doing well in education is mathematics. About 40 years ago, out of the top mathematics papers, the United States would be number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, right? Now the United States is lucky if they're 10, all of them are other countries, particularly China and, you know, parts of Russia and India. And you can't say, oh, the Chinese are cheating us. No, they actually work hard. And they emphasize technology and education. But in the United States, what's happened is you have a small set of people who learn systems education, who manipulate all of us. And there's more and more people who, at best, they're good at putting something in a grocery store. You can't hire people to do software engineering. For every 3 engineering jobs, as I mentioned in one of my previous things, only 1.5 people can fulfill it. So what's going on? What we're doing is we're electing leaders who are dumb shits, who are cheaters. They don't know any education. They're lawyers at best, politicians who learn how to con people. And the opportunity we have right now with my running and with all of you supporting us is an opportunity to have someone who actually knows, who's done the work, who doesn't cheat, who solves problems. Vivek the Snake, another big cheater. His mama and him made up fake companies, fake drugs, take it out on Wall Street. And they had to go find a brown-skinned Brahmin bullshitter to counterpose to the actual guy who does the work. But most importantly, they do not want to teach Americans how to use their brains to think, to connect the dots anymore. So I want to contrast that with somebody who's quite an extraordinary woman. Her name was Florence Nightingale. In our course, Truth, Freedom, and Health, we talk about her, and all of you should take the course. If you made it this far, become a warrior scholar wherever you are. But let me share with you, I think you guys can see this, still the slide set, right? Yes? So by the way, if we keep voting for the lesser of two evils, we're going to get this, guys. It's like Charlie Brown thinking something's going to change. And we'll continue to have this. So the real choice is, do you want to be on the plantation where, you know, Lucy keeps doing this to you? Because this is what we're going to get. And look at the precipitous downward slope of that curve. Again, look at this, stare at it. I'm the only presidential candidate, and our movement is the only one talking about this. This is the key performance indicator that the elites don't give a fuck about you. They don't. And this is not just the vaccine. No, it's been going on for a long time. Booby Kennedy's uncle, JFK, you know, head of an organized crime family. He's the one who passed the 1962 Vaccination Act, which created all the corrupt agencies. Then his brother, Ted Kennedy, who murdered a woman here in Massachusetts, got away. Also got into Harvard, okay? On no merit. Is the one who helped create the 1986 National Vaccine Injury Program, which means you can no longer sue pharma companies if they injure you. You see, all of this started here, and the effects of it are here. So, what's the solution? Well, we need a systems overhaul. We need a systems overhaul. Voting for the lesser of two evils, you're basically saying, I'm fine with my kids being suicided, okay? I'm fine with my children having a shorter lifespan than me. That's what you're basically saying. If you're saying that, then you really question your own integrity, what kind of person you are. But if you're a serious American who really loves your children, then for God's sake, look at this graph, okay? Look at it. And what you realize is we need a systems overhaul. You can't be voting for the lesser of two evils, okay? And fundamentally, there can be no systems overhaul, e.g. a revolution of education, of consciousness, without a theory of revolution, all right? Now, given we're talking about education, some of you may know this simple diagram. I've talked about it before, but I'll review it. When a bird flies for centuries, thousands of years, people wanted us to fly like birds. And they tried all sorts of stuff, right? You can read the story of Icarus and all this kind of stuff, right? But it was not until a mathematician, an Italian mathematician by the name of Bernoulli, who figured out that when you have slower moving air, you get more pressure here, and faster air creates less pressure, so you get lift, okay? And based on how you create that wing structure. So this was the foundations of a field called fluid mechanics. And this, you know, because air is a fluid ultimately, okay? And this led to the development of airplanes. But until we had this understanding of these physical laws, we were just wandering with hope at birds. So this was a fundamental principle. Another one, you have your iPhones today. You communicate seamlessly, but you never think about why we're able to communicate, within microseconds all over the world, or the speed of light. Well, that's because a guy called Maxwell's equations, figured out these four laws. All right. One of them is the fusion equation. One of them is the interconnection between electromagnetism, and what's called electricity, and so on, right? This is where the laws of, V equals IR come from, all right? I'm not going to go into the details, but fundamentally, without Maxwell's equations, without this theoretical, hardcore mathematical understanding, you would have none of the wireless communications you have today. So think about what I'm saying. It is mathematics. It is applying yourself to engineering that we make major breakthroughs. And if you have a country run by a bunch of idiots who don't emphasize, but who emphasize conning people, who, are on Vince McMahon's thing, cutting his hair and doing apprentice shows, etc. If we have that quality of people and quality of people who lie and cheat, who really have no education, and I'm not, again, saying they have to go to Harvard or MIT, but they didn't even bother really learning any other fundamental education except bullshitting people. We're not going to make advanced society. So if we want to change the world, if we want to fundamentally move things forward, if we need a systems overhaul, what is that knowledge base that we need? And I'm here to tell you it's systems knowledge. And in 2014, I published this paper, and it's a seminal paper because this paper reveals that when you take engineering system science over here, and you take ancient systems of yoga and medicine, which have stood as woo-woo medicine over here, people thought they were, that there's a bridge that connects them. And that bridge is the ultimate knowledge that every child, man and woman must learn. And that's system science. And I was the one to uncover this. And I did it as a part of my MIT Fulbright research. And what I showed was that if you look at this world of Western engineering science, these 9 principles, they match with this really weird language terminology that you may see in ancient systems of Indian medicine. And this is a foundational knowledge of system science. Let me tell you how powerful it is. And before I go to that, let me just say that the approach to system science, one of the founders who was a systems thinker was Florence Nightingale. And I've spoken about her, but I wanted to share with you a very powerful analysis that she did. But Florence Nightingale was not just a nurse. And again, go to truthfreedomhealth.com, become a warrior scholar, because I have 20 courses where I'll get more deeper into this. But I have decided that's important. Everyone gets systems education. So my run for president is an opportunity for everyone to get educated on this. But who was Florence Nightingale? Well, when I was in 4th grade, I read a book on a book report called Lady of the Lamp. And it was this nice story about this woman who helped the poor soldiers in the Crimean War. She was very loving and kind and compassionate, and that was the story. But they never talked about the fact that Florence Nightingale, at her time, was an extraordinary woman. She wasn't just a quote-unquote nurse. She was a member of the Royal Society of Statistics. Now, I can tell you, my mom studied statistics, got a master's in statistics at a time when women of her background weren't supposed to get anything. But statistics is a very, very difficult field. It's not simple. It's a very complex and difficult. If you've ever studied it, it's not easy. But she was fundamentally a mathematician, okay? But she was not just a mathematician. She was a member at that time as a woman, whereas obviously completely male-dominated, a member of the Royal Society of Statistics. And Florence Nightingale, as a systems thinker, she goes to the Crimean War. And she observes that all these soldiers are dying. It was a horrible war, okay? But she does a very interesting systems analysis, and I'll share that with you. She does this interesting systems analysis. And she finds this, and this is a very interesting graph. This is called a cobweb graph. Think about a pie chart that's blown up. But the war started in 1854, right? So think about going from 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, then 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7, coming back to 9 o'clock, okay? So she has this graph that's a pie chart. And then she draws these exploding pies. And she notices that as the war, when the first war started, as the war started, you see people dying on the battlefield, right? So the war started early. So in July, you see people dying on the battlefield. But as the war progresses, what do you see? You see more and more. So the green is people dying off of the battlefield. And the yellow saffron is people dying in the battlefield. Well, she recognizes that people are dying because when they come to the hospital has horse feces in it. It's a sewage dump. It's no hygiene. People used to go to the hospitals to die. So with this graph, she convinces the elites of her time that, hey, we should invest in really cleaning up the hospitals. And she had a vision that the healthcare system, one day there would be a healthcare system, the one we have today, meaning you would go to a hospital, doctors would come there. Doctors wouldn't even go to hospitals, by the way. It was nurses who went there. They were too elite to go there because it was a place you went to die. She cleaned it up. She cleaned up the curtains and she brought in hygiene. Her vision was one day that you would have hospital beds and the patients there would get treatment, and doctors and researchers would come there to do clinical work. And so she implemented that work, and you can see there was a precipitous drop in March of 1885. And there's another graph that keeps going on. But Florence Nightingale was a systems thinker. She didn't just say, oh my God, we have a war, people are dying on the battlefield. I don't know, let's stitch up our soldiers, and et cetera. She did a systems analysis. All right, so we don't train people to do systems analysis purposefully, intentionally, because we don't want leaders who can see all of the interconnections and say, you know what, here's really the core issue. Or here's a multiplicity of issues we need to address. Our students aren't educated like that. Even at MIT in 2003, the MIT administration realized that they needed to create a systems education. So they created a group called the Engineering Systems Division. Now remember, MIT as a #1 engineering school has mechanical engineering division, electrical engineering, aeronautical engineering, civil engineering, ocean engineering, what else? Biological engineering, all these engineerings, okay? And each one of these were siloed. People started recognizing, wait a minute, we're producing engineers, but a transportation system requires more than just a mechanical engineer, more than just a civil engineer, more than just an aeronautical engineer, right? You need someone who can see engineering with all of these things put together. How the airplane connects to the highway systems, to all these things. So they realized you needed an engineering systems division. So MIT launched that in 2003. And I was one of the first students in that through the systems biology group. But by 2008-9, the engineering systems division came under attack by the individual heads of each department, because they were concerned, oh my God, kids are going to learn the systems approach. Will they take funding away from my department? And they shut it down. Okay? It's quite fascinating. So the elites do not want to, even at the MIT level, they talk about it, to train people to see systems. Now, let me take another example here so it makes this a little more clear. Okay? So if you look at this, well, a lot of people have no idea that policies that lawmakers pass, the actual policies that they do, affect your biochemistry. Imagine if I were to tell you that. That's a systems interconnection. Suppose I were to tell you that the policies that they pass, lockdowns, whatever, any issue, right? Food stamps, you go down the list, okay? Some type of policy on the budget, that those policies affect your biochemistry. All right? Now, why do I think this is important for you to understand? Because the reality is that is what's going on. Every policy that these guys do, every policy that they do, ladies and gentlemen, affects your biology. This is connecting things at what you call at a different scale. So in system science, things can go across spatial scales, at the microscopic level, right? All the way up to a meta level, right? A very large scale. That's spatially, okay? But they can also go, yes, it's a PID diagram, but we'll get back to that. But it's much more profound than that. The other piece is that things also occur over time scale. Some things are occurring at the level of microseconds, nanoseconds, right? Things in your body, and other things occur over years. So this is called a multi-scale problem, all right? So when you take a systems approach and you can educate people on a systems approach and you become educators, you will get off the plantation. You will not be manipulated by the left or the right, black or white, or one dumb idiot or another dumb idiot. So let me just walk you. And by the way, all of you, I've done a detailed analysis in the swarm video. If you haven't seen it, watch it again and again and again. And we had a very interesting guy on our call from the Netherlands. He says, everyone on this call, everyone should do this. Take 50 or 100 people you know in your Facebook groups, write to them and say, look, my name is Henry. I work and I support Dr. Shiva. You may not support him. I want you to watch this video called Shatter the Swarm and come to our open house if you like it. If everyone on this call, 140 of you did that to 100 people, that's 10,000 people. That Shatter the Swarm video took me 50 years to do, literally. I did it in about 15 minutes on a whiteboard, but it took me 50 years. And so don't underestimate. Oops, are we losing you guys? Okay. So let me use those concepts. I don't have the time to teach you system science or control systems. You can all go to Truth, Freedom, and Health and learn that. You should invest in that and do that. So let me sort of walk you through this. You see, one of the things in a control system or a systems dynamics is a goal. The elites have a very clear goal: power, profit, control. And the elites then take their goal and they fund 3 institutions, which they all own, and they move in and out of: government, academia, and military. So their goal is this. And they fund government, academia, and military. And what do these guys do? Well, they come up with policies, right? So they have the Kennedy School of Government. They have MIT, Tufts, Harvard, Fletcher School of Government. They have military generals. And they have all the subcommittees in the Senate. But the elites fund these guys. They fund politicians. They fund academia, right? And out of these group of people, the military, industrial, academic complex. It's not just military and industry. Eisenhower got it around 2/3 right. Fulbright got it all right. Military, industrial, academic complex. They create policies. Who? To serve the elites, to maximize power, profit, and control. These policies then affect you. So, for example, the way they affect you, they pass a policy: lockdowns. Let's lock down the whole economy, which is what Trump did. Okay? And what happens? Literally in your biology, different things happen. Your HbA1c levels go up, your cortisol level goes up, your sex hormones get thrown off, okay? You start putting on fat, you don't think clearly. But their policies affect, I'm just giving you an example, physiological, biological parameters in your body. And then this leads to a disease, diabetes, for example, all right? But understand, their policies created this in your body. And this disease leads to a metric you can look at. We call it a sensor, right? It's an actual KPI. And this is where we're at. So their policies have led to that. So that affects society. Now, what does society do? Well, we give them more tax dollars. We say, oh, so they come up, they screw us, and then say, you know what? For me to solve this problem, you got to give me more. I need more tax dollars. I'm going to carbon tax you. I'm going to do more taxes. And then they sell you products, because part of this is the big pharma guys and all the corporations. So you buy more of their products. So this is a feedback system that they have. All right. It's a feedback system where they maximize power, profit, control. Now, what I'm sharing with you is systems thinking. Now, this is only a piece of it. This is control systems. but there's a much deeper aspect where we intersect it with what I shared with you earlier. But most people can never someone just said, oh, that's a PID controller. Okay, yeah, that's a piece of it. But in my view, our children, every citizen should be understanding system science from this perspective, what I shared with you here. This is the core of system science that I uncovered. In fact, John Sturman at MIT has his students come to my class. And he charges something crazy on his executive program or MIT, like 20, 30, 40 grand. We give it away for $100 or less. Okay? But our goal is to teach people how to think. Those in power have no interest in teaching you how to think. They have no interest in doing that. Let me just, I think I didn't share it for the people online. So let me just repeat this again. Sorry about that, guys. What I shared was, about Florence Nightingale, what she discovered. And again, to review this, from a system standpoint, the elites have a goal: power, profit, and control. They fund academia, military, and government, who come up with policies. Everything you see coming out of Congress, this bill, that bill, some subcommittee, is a policy that was funded by the elites, not by us. It affects you. It physiologically affects your biomarkers in your body, like, these variables, which we can measure. And ultimately, this leads to disease. And the elites are very happy because now in a positive, in a feedback for them, we say, oh my God, yes, everyone's obese. Oh my God, yes, we have more of this going on. Yes, take my tax dollars. And then they sell you some Ozempic or some product like that, which is going on right now. Okay. So if you look at the policy that took place just in 2020 during the quote unquote pandemic, what do you see? During the quote unquote pandemic, Booby Kennedy was promoting lockdowns. He'll talk another way right now. He didn't attack Fauci at all in 2020. I did. He stole our material and put it into his book called The Real Anthony Fauci, completely plagiarized, because that was the in thing to do. Again, a plagiarist, Maximus. But at the heat of the battle, he supported lockdowns. Biden supported lockdowns. Trump supported lockdowns. That was a policy. And what did that policy do? Well, that policy was passed. It affected biomarkers of all sorts of things, right? People got depressed. You had all sorts of genes being turned on in people, which affected their biochemistry. They got inflammation. People didn't get, they had cytokine storms, and so on and so on and so on. They didn't tell people to take vitamin D3. I was the scientist who saved hundreds of millions of people's lives telling people to take vitamin D3. And just 2 weeks ago, multiple clinical studies now come out saying vitamin D3 was far more efficacious than the vaccine. I saved lives, guys, because I take a systems approach. Trump killed people. Kennedy killed people. It's that simple. They promoted lockdowns. But we need systems education. If we want to save our children and you care about this country, we need to make sure people study more mathematics. We need to make sure people understand system approaches. And I've just given you a very, very little glimpse of it, okay? But without a systems understanding, you're screwed. The modern world is no longer a world of just being an electrical engineer, just being a plumber, we live in a world of systems now, complex systems. And the people who are going to be able to be very successful are people who understand systems thinking. And that's why if you go look at the book over there, System and Revolution, again, it took me a long time to make it in a couple of hours. You can read that book. It'll teach you what a system is, what is a revolution, a phase transition, what is a self-organizing system. It'll teach you all of this. So I encourage all of you guys, if you're new, to get involved. Our movement, our campaign is an opportunity for people to get a systems education. We teach you theory. We get you on the ground. You got to go in the rain and snow or whatever it is, in the sweat, collect signatures. You'll face the state. The government will come out. Because right now, what's going on is in 2020, when I ran for Senate, the government colluded with Twitter to silence me when I exposed the fact that they, destroyed ballot images. And we uncovered as a part of the fact that the government and Twitter online and or government and social media online censor us. In our presidential campaign, we're discovering something even more profound, that the government and corporations work together to make sure independents cannot get on the ballot. We go out to collect signatures. It is the government who works with Walmart or Publix or Albertsons and make sure, and they harass us from collecting signatures. And in the midst of that, we still go do it. You see, that's offline. So offline, they harass us. Online, they censor us. And when I mean us working people who are playing by the rules. But when you go out and you become part of our campaign, Shiva for President, man, you grow. And all of you listening tonight, got 151 people, and we got close to 2,000 people. Yeah, 1,200 people on social media concurrent. That's quite an audience. So all of you listening, you guys, I appreciate all the wonderful comments you send me. I appreciate that, right? But it's nice watching all this stuff on this flat screen, but you guys got to go to Shiva for President. Sign up as a volunteer. Saturday, we have our volunteer meeting. Go get one of those bumper stickers over there. They're nothing, $5. Put it on the back windshield of your car. You will be able to, as an activist, be able to reach 100,000 people per day. Go do that right now. Go volunteer, help us collect signatures. We're giving you many, many opportunities to get off your butt and do something. That's what's needed. And when you go do these things, when you actually peel a bumper sticker and put it on the back of your car, some people can't do it. Ooh, I'm nervous. They'll buy the bumper sticker and leave it on their dining room table. No, put it on your car. That takes defiance, because you're telling all your neighbors, I've made a choice. And you will see the guy who supports Biden, your neighbor across the street, will come over and say, hey, who's this guy? Why are you supporting him? And that's happened to a lot of our people. But that's engaging the world. You go collect signatures, you engage the world. You go hand out a flyer, you engage the world. And that's what we want people to do. We want people to engage people, become a full human being. You start seeing things. It's not just theory. And then you'll understand why I call them Zionist cocksuckers. You'll understand why I call them fucker Carlson. You understand the vehemency I have to these people who are taking advantage of the most powerful working class on the planet, the American working class. The American working class is being castrated every minute these days by the Kennedys, by the Trumps, by the fucker Carlsons. They want you to look to them and not look to one of us, bottoms up. That is what this is about. Do you want to be castrated? Do you want to remain on the plantation? Because the American working class, and maybe I see it because I came here as an immigrant and I value all the freedoms here. But you can't hand out flyers in Singapore. You can't hand out flyers in Saudi Arabia. You can't have interracial marriages in Israel where it's outlawed. So we need to all wake the fuck up. The American working class has certain God-given rights that they have to blunt. So every microsecond you get hit with all this media, all these fools sit at home. Oh, what can I do? What to do? You know, like Indians say, what to do? Well, what to do is get the fuck off your ass and support our campaign, because we're here. There's never been a campaign like ours. In every state, we have leaders. We're actually getting signatures, while Kennedy and the Democrats and Republicans don't have to collect anything. Kennedy is getting money and funding and colluding with the secretaries of state. These guys are cheaters, but let them cheat. Let them go do it. Our movement gives honest working people finally a voice. And we want you to think, we want you to fight, we want you to heal. I'll repeat that again. TFH. Think, fight, and heal. Truth, freedom, health. And if you want to think, fight, and heal, you come to the right place. But we're going to give you stuff to do. We're going to give you some discipline. We're going to kick your ass a little bit to go do shit. We're not going to coddle you. It's not about believing me. It's about believing in yourself and the collective for all of us to get off our butts. So that's what this is about. So to all of you who are new, welcome wherever you are on social media here. But again, the action step is go to truthfreedomhealth.com and become a participant. Learn this knowledge that took me many, many years to put together, okay? And go to truthfreedomhealth.com, okay? And by the way, I've not asked for 1 penny, okay? Kennedy would have asked you for money, money, money. We haven't sent 1 email out asking for money. But we do want you to volunteer. And if you do give me money, I send you books. I send you courses. Okay? So get involved. We made this easy. There's never been a movement like this on the planet. All right? So let me take some questions. Or Chris, do you want to introduce new people? And then we can go to questions? Whoever's leading tonight's meeting? Right. So to all of you on social media, let me just share with you that we have an amazing group of people here. Chris, can you go into that mode where we can see all the little icons? So it's not just me. You know what I'm saying? The view is gallery view. I think I got to go to gallery view. Okay. So to everyone on across the world, and we have about 150 people, and everyone here on social media. If you're interested, you can go to Shiva. You can come to our town halls, which we hold every Thursdays, like we're doing today. And we have people from all over the world join us. So get involved. So you can go to Thursday at 11 a.m. or 8 p.m. So we're going to take questions from those people who've taken time to come to our online here, and then we'll come back to people. We'll come back to people on social media. Go ahead, Chris. Let's introduce new people.
Yeah. So everyone, if you're on a mobile device, tap your screen, click the reactions button, and then select raise your hand. If you're on a computer, wave your mouse, look for the reactions button. It's a smiley face, click that, and then select raise your hand. That'll bring you to the top so I can call on you. And then also, if you're on a phone call and I call your number, you can hit *6 to unmute. So with that, we have a phone call that's been waiting for a while. So we go to 780-977-9845, *6 to unmute. And then please introduce yourself and tell us how you came across the movement. Go ahead, you're unmuted.
Yes.
Go ahead. Hello, what's your name and where are you calling from and what brought you here tonight?
My name is Patty Watson. I'm from Northern Alberta, Canada, and I watched through Ron Valand. I watched on the Missing Link. I watched Dr.SHIVA, and it just really made me interested.
Great. You said Mary Watson, or?
Pardon me?
You said your first name was what?
Patty, P-A-T-T-Y.
Patty Watson?
Yes.
And this is your number? I'll take it down. And you said you're from Alberta. We have a lot
Right.
we have a lot of people from Canada here. So thank you for being here. I'll connect you with our leaders.
Oh, great.
All right. Thanks for being here, Patty. Appreciate you. Okay, we'll go to Maggie Carter Hilland next. Go ahead, Maggie.
Hi, my name is Maggie Carter. I first watched Dr.SHIVA on a space, and I asked him what this was, which is very important. And when he gave his position,
Hey, I'm sorry, Maggie, you're breaking in and out. Can you try to get to a clear reception area, or?
I will. Can you hear me now?
That's better.
Okay, thank you. I'm getting away from the air. I was on Spaces, And I went into one of Dr. Shiva's spaces and asked him his position on Zionism, because that's very important to me. And once he stated his position, I'm on board. I'm here to participate and volunteer and help with the life.
Yeah, I mean, Maggie, it's good to have you. You know, the issue with Zionism is one of those. What's great about the issue on Zionism, I've said this before, it's a litmus test that really defines your character and where you stand. Another thing that defines all these influencers is, will they even put me on their podcasts? And you can see the ones that do and the ones that will never, because they're all Zionists themselves, you know, and they're very, very afraid of our movement. But good to have you, Maggie.
Thank you very much. Great to be on board.
Hey, Maggie, where are you from?
Yeah, if people on their Zooms in that names could put what part of the country they're from, that'd be great.
I muted you, Maggie, so you can tell me what state you're from, and I will.
Appreciated. I'm from Clearwater, Florida.
Oh, I love Clearwater, home of Hulk Hogan. All right, well, I'll be reaching out to you in the Zoom chat, so please be on the lookout for my message. As with everyone, I will be messaging you for your contact information to connect you with the state leader. So.
Yeah, Chris, if we could have people introduce themselves in a very succinct way, because we have about 1,400 people also online here. So they're also interested in questions.
I'll go to Gervasio Santos.
Yes. Hi. Hi, Dr. Shiva. It's Jerry again. This is actually, I actually apologize for not going to more of your events here, but I just had a question.
No, wait, Gervasio, this is the time to introduce new people. So if you could just wait and ask a question later. So this is for new people, and if you could come later, that'd be great. Thank you. Chris, if you could facilitate making sure it's, you know, people recognize it's not question time. Thanks.
Of course.
Yep.
Frank Pisano, please introduce yourself.
Okay, let's keep moving.
Hi. This is
Frank. Yep.
Frank from Staten Island.
Hey, Frank.
Hi, Doc. Good. I feel so bad for you because you got an incredible message, but nobody seems to listen. I don't know how you could overcome this. I pray you do. But I'm from New York, Staten Island, and I'm a quick read, so I'll go on Amazon, buy a book or two that you wrote, and read some more about this. I remember you during COVID, and you were the only guy. You and another guy, I don't know if I'm saying his name wrong, Jay Bhattacharya. I think he's from Stanford.
No, he was promoting lockdown. He was a year late.
Oh,
Jay Bhattacharya.
Okay, so he was.
Yeah, no, let me finish. Jay Bhattacharya wrote a paper, and you can find the paper promoting lockdowns. And then they saw me coming out, so he's out of Stanford. Stanford's a center for the CIA. That guy's full of shit. Go look at what he actually said in January, February, March. He wrote a paper promoting lockdowns, a scientific paper. All right? I was the only one, and our movement was the only one. And we have to take credit there. So don't give him any credit. He's full of shit.
Okay, well, kudos to you, Doc. And I hope more people learn about you.
Well, wait a minute, Frank. Let me just correct something. 500 million people know about our movement. So let's just clarify something very important. We've added up all the views at that period. One of my videos on vitamin D3 got like 200 million views. Okay, so a lot of people know about our movement. What you're witnessing is the actual effort by the establishment to make us invisible, and we're still succeeding. That's why you're here. But 500 million people know about our movement. We have, over 500 million people who've touched our movement as members, warriors, supporters. So if you go on YouTube and Facebook and social media, you will see people using our knowledge to expose the not so obvious establishment. So the reality is they want you to think no one knows about us. But wherever I travel, people randomly will come up, oh, Dr. Shiva, I remember you. I remember you. You did this. You did this. So a lot of people know about us, Frank. But they want to make it appear through their own efforts that no one knows about us. But a lot of people know about us. So thank you.
You're welcome. And Doc, I didn't mean to diminish your footprint of what's going on. You're doing great work. I just haven't heard from you in like 3 years, because I used to watch you in 2020 stuff, and you were always on target. Let me tell you. And I'm glad I'm glad I reconnected with you.
Yeah. Well, remember they threw me off Twitter. Okay. That was thank you. But anyway, but we haven't stopped. You know, we filed lawsuits. Been doing work. Thank you.
Well, God bless you. Stay healthy, and I hope everything works out for all of us.
Okay, thanks. All right, so we have. Let's go to. Is it Lady Espin? Lady Espin, can you unmute yourself? Chris,
Done.
Yeah. Hi, Lady Espin. Can you kindly tell us where you're from, how you came across us? A lot of people want to know. We really enjoy this part of the evening because people get to see all the new people that are coming around.
Okay, I'm from Miami, Florida.
Uh-huh.
My family's from Dominican Republic. I am a physician, an OBGYN. And I don't know how I came across, but I know I've created a group called the Preppers on Telegram. So ever since 2020, I've been one of the few doctors that are sheep. And what I would see on TV and what I would see at my hospital were completely different. And that's when I started really questioning everything. And I started following alternative media, etc. And basically that's my background, and I'm supporting you 100%. And you've opened my eyes because I am or was a Trump supporter. But I figure it's like you said, the lesser of the two evils.
Yeah, I mean, it's really good to have you. We have, we need to get about a couple of 100,000, 250,000 signatures in Florida. Please give your information where you are in the chat to Chris. We'll connect you with our two leaders down there. They're extraordinary people, but it's really good to have you. When people of your background who've been medical professionals, the amount of stuff you've had to go through to overcome the establishment and overcome Trump, or Kennedy or Sanders, they put all these frauds. So I just want you to congratulate yourself, and it's really good to have you. I want you to go through the truthfromhealth.com program and get involved. You will learn a tremendous amount. By the way, we have a systems health program where it's for anyone who's interested in health. We're holding a big workshop next week, end of the month. And if you want to know more, we can share that with you, but it's really good to have you.
Thank you so much. And I'm definitely going to do the program. And I've already been writing a list of people that I know that I'm going to share this information with and stay on top of them so that they at least start next Thursday. So I will be very proactive.
Great. Excellent. That's what we need everyone to do, guys. It's simple. We made it easy for you. We built the website. We had to build the forms. It's a lot of IT work, all done by volunteers. So all you guys have to do is just spread the word. Thank you.
And thank you for all you do.
Thank you. It's good.
I commend you and wish you the best of luck.
You're welcome.
Okay.
All right. The next person we have, let's go to Ari Lozano. Go ahead, Ari. Ari Lozano.
Hello, Dr. Shiva.
Hi, Ari.
How are you?
Good. Where are you from, Ari?
Can you hear me?
How are you? Yep.
I'm currently, let's say, in the Balkans area, Europe, Southeastern Europe. And would like to share our sentiments with you. There are many people that like you. You come across as a real refreshment to the world politics, and the regular people, humans awakening every day. They really react very well to you, and hoping that you are going to bring change that will then spread to the rest of the world, not just the US. The more important thing here is that I represent, let's say, a group of fellow scientists, such as yourself. And we would like to get in touch with you on a conference call with people from around the world. It's a small group, basically. However, we do have some technologies in our hands that are very close to be launched because the situation in the world requires it. So,
all right. So
one of the things.
why don't you send Crystal? By the way, to everyone on the Zoom in the town hall, Chris is requesting of you your contact information, your email, and your phone so he can connect you to state leaders. Ari, what part of the Balkans are you in?
I'm currently in Serbia, but I move between Slovenia and Turkey, so all the countries in between.
Yeah, so
we work with innovators and patent authors from this area currently, but we are a group of people from all around the world.
Well, it's really nice.
Yeah.
So the reason I asked is, please, Chris will request you, if you can just give your email and your contact. We have leaders also all over Europe and in the Middle East, okay? So we want to connect you, but you and I can do a follow-up. Chris, please give Ari my direct email so he can reach out to me. Thanks, Ari. Good to have you. Yeah, very good to have you.
Thank you.
Yep.
Good luck.
Yep. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Well, all of us are involved in it, so let's all get involved. So again, to everyone, Chris is asking each one of you. So, and the reason he's asking for contact is because he wants to connect you to local state leaders. So please help him. Let's go to Jessica Coco. Let's go, Jessica. Nice to have you. How are you?
Oh, hello. I'm okay. Good evening. So I'm one of the original founders and of the Stop the Lockdown in New York City, before the CIA swooped in. Also, the New Jersey lockdown, anti-lockdown movement. And first time I heard about you was a group of other people at the protest mentioned you. And when I saw Dr. Shiva for president, we need to organize. I've been saying this for a long time, and it's been a struggle trying to organize. You know, the whole left has been destroyed by the CIA, and of course, even the right wing is controlled. I'm very well aware of that. Also, I just wanted to bring up, if you'd like to be on WBAI in New York, Danny Villa would love to interview you on La Voz Latina. So if someone can contact me,
yeah,
that
so
may be something that I put in the door there.
Yeah, so Chris, can you send Jessica my email address so we can connect her to Heather? So Jessica, Chris is going to text you right now my direct email address. By the way, as you know, I'm from Jersey, so it'd be good to.
Yes.
Yeah, so we need to get, we're mobilizing an organization in every state. So your activist experiences will be very, very valuable because you have this veteran training to be able to see through this nonsense of the left and the right and all these fake leaders, Kennedy's, Trump's, et cetera. So it's really good to have you. So Chris, if you could send her my contact, and to all of you, please respond to Chris, because our goal in running these open houses is so you can network. So you're not just coming to a meeting and we disappear and no one knows what the hell's going on. So great to have you. Jessica, look forward to connecting with you. And I'd love to be on that podcast, that radio station. Thank you.
Okay, sounds wonderful. Excellent.
Thank you. Let's go to Jessen Yu, YOO. Jessen Yu. Go ahead, Jessen. Jason?
Hi, Dr. Shiva.
How are you?
Jason, like a Jordan. I'm very well. I'm very president, I started in Boston. I lived in Boston over about 18 years in California, and now we got California, which is called Apple Valley. Anyhow, I'm also retired registered nurse. I got to know you during the COVID bullshit, I say, because
Yeah.
a friend of mine, they told me about the Dr. Butard, you, and I've been watching your videos since hundreds. And I'm very happy to meet you on the screen, but one day I'd like to come out to Boston to meet you.
Yeah, well, if we have a workshop that we're doing every month. We're going to do it at the end of every month. I'll talk more about it. A lot of nurses come to it, retired nurses and nurses. So you're more than welcome to come to Boston. We also have a great group in California. Chris is going to text you right now on the Zoom chat. If everyone's on Zoom, there's a little chat. And so please help Chris because he's working very hard and multitasking. So give him your contact and he'll connect you up also with two of our really great leaders in Florida. But yeah, please come to Boston.
Yes. And then I'm very happy you also mentioned the Nightingale, the system thinker, because she is actually not just a nurse, so I'm very happy you brought it up, her intelligence on the system understanding and analysis, all that. I'm going to share with my nurse colleagues.
Yeah, so if you see this, put this here, this drawing that I have on my back here, this was a lithograph that she did, okay? And this lithograph, a lot of people, let me just show this here. This lithograph, a friend of mine, Jim Coleman, before he died a couple of years ago, wrote a book on her. But this is that cobweb graph, right? And this should be taught at the grade. Every kindergartner should learn this. But this is those two graphs, which really is a systems graph in many ways.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Great. Good.
I signed it in volunteer. I'm collecting with Maria and Crystal.
Oh, great. Yeah, to everyone out there in the world of social media, know that you can all be involved by helping us get on the ballot. So if you've heard this, go to shivaforpresident.com and get involved. Yes. You have nothing to lose but your chains.
Yeah. Can we see some sample of a ballot or signature sample, anything?
What's that?
Can we see the sample of a ballot or?
Yeah, if you need any help doing that process, Maria and Crystal.
Or he has to be California resident, or Kansas.
Yeah. So Justin, we don't want to go. Yeah, so you can talk to Maria.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Yep.
Got it. Thank you.
Yep. Let's go to Anthony Quirchi. Is that right? Sorry. How are you doing, Anthony? You have to unmute yourself, Anthony.
I did once, but it looks like it came in. You hear me?
Yep. Go ahead, Anthony. How are you?
Cape Canaveral, Florida here. I'm doing great. I'm Cape Canaveral, Florida here. I just connected with one of the leaders, submitted the NDA, and I'm a tug engineer here at the SpaceX station. And one of my favorite things to do is to talk to these captains and these officers about what a clown puppet Elon Musk is, how he's a front man. So
are you serious?
Sharing your stuff. Oh yeah, I'm an engineer, so I'm an officer myself. And when you question these people and the compartmentalization that's around, people don't know what's going on. So I'm going to be working out of St. Augustine, Florida and Cape Canaveral, and we're going to blow past 300,000 signatures for sure. I can feel the momentum picking up. And
so
I heard from you. Go ahead.
Do you work at SpaceX or you work as an engineer?
I'm a tug engineer. I'm a tug engineer for a company that moves the barge platform, the launching platform.
Yeah.
Drone up. So I'm on their boats. I talk with the SpaceX employees all the time, and I dig around and see where the level of consciousness is with people. And most of them are kind of Luddites and sleep, but there's pockets and there's chances for me to kind of get people to scratch their heads. But I have a pretty good attitude about it, and I like your material. You're right. That Blackboard video is a crucial one to share because everybody knows something's astir, and that's a good one to kind of crack the door.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
so I'm going to be in St. Johns County, and I'm going to also be working the Cape Canaveral area too. And because I understand that the signatures they just have to be verified signatures from the whole state as a collective.
Right. Yeah. Now,
So, yep.
what's interesting is, anyone who's, you're an engineer, I'm an engineer, anyone who looks at Elon Musk and looks at his background realizes the guy doesn't know. I mean, he's total swarm creature. Everything he
But people don't. He's an actor. I mean, this is a guy who did more TV shows on Saturday Night Live, Rick and Morty. I mean, if you look at his resume, if you're a CEO of multiple companies, you're not going to be running around doing shows and smoking blunts on Joe Rogan podcast. Who he should have you on the show. Big surprise there. Why you don't have an appointment on his podcast, but we know about controlled opposition and what we're up against here. So even if this campaign doesn't work out, I'm not a statist anyways, but you're setting a groundwork and a network for raising consciousness. And that's what's really critical here is shaking people awake.
Yeah. So Anthony, you're with it, man. I like everything you're saying. You get it. So you got to do two things. Okay. Ready? You got to not only help us with signatures, but I want you to become involved in this movement because you get it, man. And once you learn some of the physics here, you'll be able to lead other people. So
exactly. No, I was part of some of these movements before, but nothing that has your network and your energy levels that you're using the democratic process to establish this. It's critical because I'm in a Discord server where it's based on Ken Wilber's levels of consciousness, if you're familiar with that. And it's kind of like another grassroots approach where we're trying to, the higher levels of consciousness, the 7s and the 8s, are trying to bring people up and turn people on, because there is a science to that, like your system science. And
yeah,
I don't know what the critical mass is. What is critical mass? Is it 51%? Is it 2/3?
No. Well, I think I don't think we worry about that, you see, because this gets sort of highly theoretical. The issue is, does Anthony Quirchi get it right now? Because you are saying a lot of things that make sense. Okay.
I get it.
That's what I'm saying. So get involved, because I'll talk to a lot of and then you'll never see them again, right? Because it takes a big thing.
Yeah, your program's great. I went through it. I got jammed up on the know your system, your body's your system. I got jammed up on that part of it, but I'm already
that's great, man.
Work with the Florida leaders got me, and I'm gonna start my own.
Well, you should own that whole area. Work with Bonnie and Andrew and just own that whole area.
The momentum is picking up. The momentum's catching on. I can feel it in the last 45 minutes of this Zoom meeting. So we're gonna keep with it. We're gonna get together.
All right, man. Great to have you.
All right.
Great to have you. Look forward to talking to you more.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
For sure.
Okay, let's go to Judith Landry from Quebec. Judith, how are you? And then to all the people on, we have close to now 1,600 people live on across all the channels. So we will, right after this, we'll go to people live. So those of you who are out there, we'll be taking questions from you, and then we'll come back to our town hall. We're basically doing a global town hall. So go ahead, Judith, how are you? Very nice to have you.
Very nice to talk to you, Dr. Shiva. Very honored to talk to you. So I saw your video once about the swarm. I got it on Facebook, and it was very interesting. I said, "Oh wow, this guy, he's really saying the things that's really what's happening." And the question about like the systems approach is, I've always known that we're in a system, and the system is bucked. So like I've kind of like retreated from the system. I'm not in it. Well, I'm in it. You cannot not be in it. You can't just get out of it. It's big. But I'm like working on trying to make a parallel way of living that, you don't work for that system. You work for the system of life. And so I'm really interested in learning but like I'm working I'm interested in natural healing, like herbs and nutrition, and the systems approach, like Ayurveda and all that, as something that I thought, oh, that someday I will want to learn that. But yeah, you know, like there's a lot of things, and now it was there, so I said, oh, maybe that's the way I'll get it. I'll get to it, you know. But that's not the only thing, because I see the whole problem as a whole. It's not just the body, it's not just the humans, it's the whole, it's the society, the holistic, in a holistic approach.
Yeah, the swarm. Yeah, so Judith, if you and everyone on our town hall on Zoom and everyone listening, that nearly now we're close to getting to nearly 2,000 people. Do the following right now tonight before you go to bed, wherever you are, or by tomorrow. Take your top 20, 30 friends, send them the Shatter the Swarm. You know, you can go to shattertheswarm.com, send them that video and a link, and tell them that they must take 15 minutes to watch it for their own benefit. If everyone does that, it just goes viral. It's already gone viral, but I think each one of you has friendships, relationships. Just as a gift to their future and their advancement, share that video. Okay? All right. Thank you, Judith. Good having you. Glenn Halls is here. He's from Canada. So Chris will ask you for your information, and he'll connect you. Chris, are people being pretty good and giving you contact? I know people weren't being fully responsive. Is that happening, Chris?
Yeah, it's helped out with you reminding them. Thank you.
Okay, good. Thank you, everyone. Let's go to, so we're going to finish up with a couple of people. Again, anyone new, please introduce yourself. It's, we're at sort of a, open house. The ethos is you share your, go ahead, AB.
Hey, doctor, how are you doing? I'm new. I'm from Seattle. I'm from Seattle.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, I'm right now currently just doing like desktop support IT work, and I found out about your movement through the redacted interview, and had just like a couple of questions regarding like grifters and people that want to talk about certain things that make sense, but also don't want to lead to solutions.
Yeah, so if you just hold off, we're going to get to the Q&A piece, but it's great to have you. What part of the world are you in?
I'm in Seattle, Washington.
Okay. Well,
yeah, could you touch on the topic of BRICS just temporarily, why you think it's controlled opposition?
Yeah, so I can talk about that. I do want to be a little practical. So in Washington, we need to get signatures. So Chris will ask you for contact. So we want you to get involved and help us, but I will answer that question. Okay?
For sure.
But it's good to have you. Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, so it is 10, just to be mindful of time. We're going to take another 15 minutes. And after Barry, we're going to take Q&A, 5 to 10 minutes online and also on social media. Hi, Barry. How are you? You're from Tamarack, Florida. Hey. Nice to have you.
Yes, sir. Hey, thanks for having me, Dr. Shiva. Nice to meet you. Nice to talk to you. I'm happy to be here today. Yes, I just I started, looking into politics back in 2020. I'm just looking at all these guys talking about all this stuff, and I saw some of your videos, but I just really recently started looking at more of your stuff and really getting into it. And just really want to help out. You sound like you have a lot of good things to say and have some good ideas and solutions and everything, and makes a lot of sense to me. So it really makes sense to get on board and give it a go and help you guys get this going.
Yeah, Barry, here's the bottom line, man. The world that someone asked, how many people does it take? The bottom line is one individual, Barry, understanding these concepts and raising their consciousness. It's a wave goes out to many, many other people. And we've made it very accessible, right? It's not like you have to go through, forever and ever and ever. And, it's basically you immerse yourself in this knowledge and you learn it. We've made it directly accessible. So get involved. In Florida, we have a big challenge, but it's going to be a lot of fun. We got to get, a couple 100,000 signatures. So getting signatures is a challenge. You go out and you'll have all these things. Sometimes the store manager will come out, the cops will come out, then you have to learn how to bob and weave, you know, and deal with that. But you'll learn a lot.
That's all good. Yeah, it's all good. I kind of got a game plan. You know, you know, I'm pretty good at you know,
all right.
working with people. So
well, Chris will ask you for your info. Connect with him. Thanks, Barry. Let's go on to some Q&A. So I'm going to go.
Thanks, Dr. Shiva.
Yeah, I'm going to go online. So anyone online who has any questions, and Chris, you can start getting questions there. And I'll read some comments. Someone saying, you know, our movement is the only, our run for president is the only hope for America. Let's see. Someone says, how do you feel about fasting? All right. Well, you know, it depends on the right time for the right person under the right conditions, right? It's not one thing works for everyone. One of the things you learn when you take a systems approach is that each system is unique. Each system has its own set point, and there's different conditional, you know, under different conditions, any modality can be valuable if it's applied right. Even you take an herb like turmeric, right? It's a good herb, but if you're prone to dryness and it's very dry outside, you got to be careful how much of that you take, okay? So we take a very prudent approach, and the tool sets that we've created, one of the tools is Your Body, Your System. It educates people on how to educate others to think from a systems perspective. One size does not fit all. So how do I feel about fasting? Yeah, under the right conditions. But if you haven't eaten and you're nutrition deficient and you haven't had any food for a while, you probably shouldn't be fasting, right? If you have other situations, and fasting may be appropriate for certain periods of time. So it all depends. But obviously, it's a modality that can be used under the right conditions. You know, for centuries, traditional medicine has used that. Chris, do you have any? Let's go to questions on your end, Chris. So if you have a question, let's go to Gervasio. And again, you know, I would appreciate it. We talked about education. Kindly keep it to the topic, and let's not try to make the questions so abstract that they really have no value for advancing, you know, the movement and helping people see things. Go ahead, Gervasio.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, Gervasio, how are you? Good to see you.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
I'm doing well. Well, hello, everyone. I just want to let everyone know I've been following Dr. Shiva since his Senate campaign. I love him and his family. I was actually introduced to him by his father after attending one of his sister's medical forums. But he's already my president. And I just wanted to ask you this question because it's from something that recently happened in our state that's got me scared. I don't know if you heard about the mother and her young daughter that were murdered in their car by a drive-by, and basically their car was strewn with bullets. And basically, in my history, the only criminals that I know that would do something like that are the drug cartels. Now, I'm scared of actually now going out into the streets. Should I be? What are you going to do about this border crisis that we're facing?
Yeah, Gervasio, where was that shooting in Massachusetts? Do you remember what town? We can't hear him. Can someone unmute him?
It just happened in Worcester, like within the last 12 hours.
Right. Yeah, that's the reason I want to tell you is, so if everyone in the United States are listening outside of the United States, Massachusetts literally reflects America, meaning the east coast of Massachusetts is like the east coast of America. The west part of Massachusetts is literally like San Francisco and LA area. And the central part of Massachusetts is like the Rust Belt. It's all working class people. Worcester is part of that working class area. And for many, many years, it's been one of the most abused parts of Massachusetts. They don't get proper train, mass transit support, massive income inequality. The crime continues to escalate. So Gervasio, what I want to let you know is on two pieces is that I did a video on this. Everyone talks about gun control and gun violence, and neither party wants to address this fundamental issue, which is the following: that the data shows, like if you take a systems approach, and there's been only one woman scientist who did this work, and it was revealed that the number one reason for gun violence, it directly correlates to the Gini score, income inequality, okay? And no one wants to talk about it. The right wing doesn't want to talk about income inequality, and the left wing just wants to make it about take away everyone's guns. But no one's addressing this fundamental issue that every economic, quote unquote, crisis, the rich keep getting wealthier and wealthier and wealthier. There's massive consolidation of wealth. During the Depression in the United States, you know, people are losing their homes, and a lot of horrible things were taking place, but the most number of millionaires came out of there because the elites partied. They always make money during the quote unquote pandemic. 600 billionaires increased their wealth by $2.3 trillion. And the work of, I think her name is Kathleen Newman, when it shows to violence, it really points to the fact that there's some deep psychological issues that occur when you have this kind of income inequality. That's on one side. The other side is we also need to recognize when it comes to the immigration issue, Trump is just a blowhard. He's full of shit. He has no interest in addressing legal or illegal immigration. During his administration, he actually destroyed legal immigration. You can go look it up. In fact, the Cato Institute put it out, which is considered a right-wing organization. And he actually did nothing to curtail illegal immigration. This is a reality, and everyone get this clear. This issue of immigration is always used to divide people. And the solution, and it is Trump, Biden, and Obama, who have engineered, quote unquote, illegal immigration, because what they want to do is they want to do biometric tagging of every US citizen. So they're creating this hype, Gervasio. They have no interest in addressing immigration, right? Go to Trump's Mar-a-Lago. Go to any of his facilities. You know, he's using people from, you know, more than likely, people have to do it, you know. Who wants to cut the lawns? Who wants to do all the menial labor? Many, many Americans are on disability and do not want to work. So we, you know, these quote unquote illegal immigrants come in here, they want to work, right? And we have to understand that the notion of always talking about violence and not addressing it is, and talking about our safety, whenever you hear politicians talk about our safety, it is basically a hop, skip, and jump away to doing more regulations to curtail our freedom. So we need to all pull our heads out of our ass and realize that these guys don't want to solve immigration at all. Immigration is frankly very easy to solve. It's very easy. But they don't want to solve it because the guys on Wall Street want cheap labor, and another wing wants, you know, quote unquote, illegal aliens to manipulate elections. That's what's actually going on. And so we have to be very clear what narratives we get stuck in, Gervasio. All right. I hope that answers your question. Let's go to the next one. Let's go over to. Well, in the interest of time, we have about 4 minutes. We'll take Brett, and then we'll take Bernardo, and then Archie. Go ahead, Brett.
Back to the topic of education. How you doing, Dr. Shiva? I've studied John Taylor Gatto, the
Brett,
underground history of American
right?
education. Yes, correct.
Yeah. By the way, Brett is out there collecting signatures. He's setting an example. It's good. I'm glad we're having these thoughtful questions, but at the end of the day, Brett's out there on the ground. He pounded out about 100, 120 phone calls a couple of days ago. So again, I just want to remind everyone there's a practicality what we're doing. Go ahead, Brett.
Oh, thank you, Dr. Shiva. But my question is about, you know, the education system. Like I said, I've studied John Taylor Gatto's The Underground History of American Education, and in the Warrior Scholar Program, you gift the foundations of system science to, you want to give it to younger children. Now, I'm asking you, what would you recommend? It's the system that the kids are in is terrible, and there's a lot of parents in this group and a lot of parents on this call. Do we keep our children in the system to like explain to them, hey, this is how it works in the system, but this is how it works in the real world? Or do we maybe want to pull them out of that system because it's involved with the mask and the indoctrination and of all of the bad flaws of basically not teaching system science. So I just wanted to get your take on that, what you thought about that.
Well, look, so here's my thesis on children's education, particularly in the K through 12, if that's what we're talking about. Oh, where did he go? Where did Brett go? Did we lose you, Brett? So so I believe in the particular areas of K through 12, there is extremely important that people learn very specific skills. The brain is developing during that period. There are certain types of knowledge that's much easier to train people on at an earlier age than a later age. One of them being mathematics, another is languages. Mathematics and language, interesting enough, use the same part of your brain that does computation. And so I see, many parents who have serious concerns with the education systems for good reasons, but then they do homeschooling, and some of the homeschooling is good. Parents have to spend a lot of time, and some people are pooling their resources, which is all really good to see. But I would only like to say that during a particular period, right, it's very, very important that certain types of mechanical skills are developed. When kids are growing, it's very important that they interact with other humans, the ability to identify faces, communicate with people, build this emotional intelligence is very valuable. So whatever program people are doing, that should be an aspect. The ability to do computing and mathematics, that's another aspect. Okay, it's very important. To the extent that art helps you solve problems, which is what art was really designed for, it's very valuable. But, I've had the opportunity to have training in all these areas. And I think the more you expose kids to multiple areas where they require some rigor, and obviously athletics are very good, team building, these things. So there's a set of things. It's not any one thing. So if people are going to do this in a homeschooling environment, I applaud them, but you have to make sure the kids are getting a good mix of all of this, and then some level of supervision. Either it's an older kid teaching a younger kid, which used to be the old model, right, where kids learn. And there's many teach pedagogy methods, but I think as a parent, it's very difficult, and it depends on what school system you're in. Some of the wealthier school systems have less kids, more teacher attention. So obviously they have a bigger advantage than kids who are in the public school systems. But I think fundamentally what needs to happen is that if parents are teaching their kids on their own, they should get a serious tax break. They should not be having to pay property tax and be able to have to do that, right? Because it's a lot of resources. So I would say parents should have the right to do that. And if they're doing that, and they're achieving certain standards, they should get tax breaks. They should get a rebate on their property taxes. I have, Chris just said there's a couple of questions we have coming in online. It says, Stratus Blue from YouTube, did Ben Franklin influence your views of public education as a civics need? Yeah, so Ben Franklin had a lot of things right. This guy, I don't know if you, I'm a big fan of Ben Franklin's. He was, he had very tough growing up, but he learned a lot of things. He learned printing, he learned a lot of different vocations and arts. He got patents. He's quite an incredible guy. So I have a lot of respect for him. But the concept of public education, when the teacher is allowed to make decisions on what's right between her and the kids, that's a very good form of education. But what happened was in the 1970s, the Department of Education got created, and they took all the power away from the teachers. You have to give teachers power. You have to give them the education. You have to give them power to say, oh, that kids need this education, this kid this education. I was luckily at the tail end of the 70s, where our teachers did do that. I had very fortunate to have good mathematics teachers, chemistry teachers, physics teachers in the high school I went to. But it's completely changed now. In the old one-room schoolhouse, in the original model of public education, by the way, we have to not throw the baby out with the bathwater. The reason many immigrants came to the United States was because of the public educational system in the United States, which was quite stellar at one time. So if you look at even the old one-room schoolhouses, you had, you know, K through 8 there. The 8th graders would teach the 7th graders, the 7th graders would teach the 6th graders, and the teacher was more of a facilitator in those one-room schoolhouses. It was a wonderful place to actually learn, teach, and serve. That's the model we have in Systems Health. So yeah, so Ben Franklin got a lot of things right, you know, and but you know, you have a bunch of dumb idiots right now running school systems. You have bean counters running school systems, not educators. So one of the things we are doing as a solution is in the Systems Health program, we are teaching people how to teach. One of the things I think I'm very effective at is taking very complex concepts and making it accessible to people. So we have actually started an entire program as a solution where we're teaching people how to teach. So if you're a yoga teacher, you get to teach from a systems approach. If you're a teacher, if you're a nurse, if you're a doctor. So teachers can really make a massive difference. But the problem is they've even lost the skills on how to teach. So we're going to bring that back. So you guys may want to check that out. Let's go to the last one. Arki and Bernardo, can you both ask your questions together? And I'll answer it. It's 10:18. I've been trying to keep these, you know, I enjoy doing these, but in the interest of keeping them a little more controlled, I want to do that. Go ahead, Bernardo, question?
I have this already written down before the question was asked. US presidents, could you create like a whole manual that parents go by, like a complete manual for homeschooling? Because one of the problems homeschooling dads or moms have is what to teach your kid at what age. So if US presidents can create a team that would create a manual for homeschooling. That's all my question. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thanks, Bernardo. So, you know, in ancient and traditional systems of medicine, what, so we can do that, Bernardo. But just to give you an overview, there was a period in the education of a child that parents between 0 through 12 really loved the kid, let the kid be a child. And after 12 to 18, typically the parents would find a great teacher, a mentor. So that way the parents didn't have to deal with also being the parent and the teacher. You see, because sometimes you get into these conflicts where the kids start hating the parents, right? It's very difficult for parents. So they separated that, but the teacher, the mentor, really educated the kids on a lot of disciplines. Before even teaching them skills, they learned some basics, core values, right? How to be a good human being, how to work hard, how to be on schedule, do what you say. Ethics. There used to be a class in ethics. None of that exists anymore. And civics. You see, all this kind of stuff has just disappeared. So yeah, Bernardo, I could put together a roadmap and do that. Thank you. Arki, go ahead. Last question.
Hey, Dr. Shiva. This is less a question than just to let you know that on Thursdays when you do your town hall, you'll have a free broadcast into Canada if you ever want to, say anything about Canada. If somebody from your team could send me like a high resolution version of this bumper sticker so I can put it over here, that would be amazing. And I'm basically planning to come down here on Thursdays and possibly more, and essentially just have your voice out there. It'll be your town hall, and hopefully people will.
I'm a little bit confused, Arki. Are you saying you're going to come here, meaning to the United States?
No, I'm at Yonge and Dundas Square in Toronto, and just wanted you to be aware that you have a voice out here on your town halls. I think I'm just going to come out here. I bring my laptop. I can do my own work and kind of listen in as well, especially for your lectures and stuff. But I need people in Toronto to hear you. So
yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
So we had a big meeting last Sunday with Canada. We have about 3,200 people in Canada, and we have people in Toronto, Montreal. So if you email Chris will connect you up to Glenn Halls. We'll connect you up to the people. Okay.
Yeah, I'm connected with Glenn actually. So I guess I should make sure I'm on all the lists because I didn't know there was a Canada meeting on Sunday.
Yeah, we have a massive plan for Canada, but yeah, let's do that. That'd be great, Archie. Thank you.
Well, yeah. Yeah. And if there's people in Toronto, like Thursday nights, if you're gonna, company is always better. People feel more comfortable to approach. So yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, guys, I think what Archie's saying, we can make these open houses. You can make a community event. You can do quote unquote watch parties, but get involved. So to everyone on the world of social media, we've posted about 1,800 people. So we've hit almost 2,000 people, which is quite a record in the midst of all the shadow banning, which means it'll probably be 20,000 people. Okay. So I want to, first of all, wrapping up, anyone, wherever you are in the world, go get one of those bumper stickers. Go to shivaforpresident.com. Doesn't matter even if you're another part of the world, right? Get those bumper stickers. Let everyone know. Number two, go to Shiva for President. Volunteer, volunteer, volunteer. And even if you're outside of the United States, you can help. You can help make phone calls wherever you are. Volunteer. Get involved. And to the extent, if you want to give us money, know that you get stuff from me, okay? But money is frankly secondary. I really value people's labor and their skill and their volunteer, because then you guys are contributing, you learn, it's really a momentum. In many ways, labor precedes capital, I really believe that. The power of people doing work and uniting is far more powerful than giving money. That's why all these politicians are, give me money, give me money, give me money. What do they do with this money? Booby Kennedy's begging for 20 million bucks to get on the ballot. He doesn't even go get any signatures. He's going to pocket that money. Trump every day sends you 5 emails asking you for money. And he's robbing poor working people's money who only have 400 bucks in their savings account. The average American, 80% of Americans right now only have $400 for a rainy day in their bank account. And those are the people he's targeting like a con man. And Kennedy does that. Biden does that. All these guys, don't give them a penny. All right? Rather, get involved in our movement, give your time, and you'll meet amazing people. You'll get empowered. You'll learn a lot. But that's what life is about. It's about growing our consciousness through deeds and using your mind. Metset manus, both mind and hands. That's what this is about. All right, everyone. I really appreciate everyone joining us. I want to thank the people on social media for getting the word out. Again, everyone share shattertheswarm.com, that video, with 10, 20 people Just send them an email. Something to the effect of, hey, my name is Jewel. Hi, Bob. Hi, Bill. I know we've known each other for a while. Please take 15 minutes. Watch this video. And if you like it, come to the open house. Everyone do that. That's what we need. It can't just be me doing videos, inviting people to the open house. Everyone here needs to be an ambassador of what we're putting together. It's a very small thing everyone can do. All right, everyone. Thank you. Be well, be the light, and I wish all of you a good night and best to you and your families. But get involved, get involved, get involved. Thank you. Thanks, Henry. Be well. Bye-bye. All right, everyone. Hope you guys enjoyed that. It was great having you. Please get involved in this very, very powerful movement for truth, freedom, health. As I leave, go to shivaforpresident.com. We have all sorts of great stuff out there: stickers, lawn signs, bumper stickers. Get involved. That's shivaforpresident.com. And then you are all welcome to come to our next open house. You can see the link right there, right? 11 a.m. or 8 p.m. Go to vashiva.com/orientation. You'll meet amazing people. And again, everyone, shattertheswarm.com. All of you, there's about 1,800 of you. Each one of you, go tell 20 of your friends. Send them an email. Hey, watch this video called shattertheswarm.com and go to Dr. Shiva's open house. You may forget what you think about him, like him or not. Just take time to watch this video, because Shatter the Swarm is a little mini 15-minute movie, just 15 minutes. And you'll learn how the few control 8 billion of us. Just take a few moments, share that with all your friends. All right, everyone. I wish you all a good night. Be well, and best to all you, best to all of you and your families. Thank you. Be well.